Hello everybody, welcome back to Planet X News. This is Scott from the Nibiru channel. It is August 1st, 2017. And ladies and gentlemen, I just labeled this video the Planet X Sunset.
Well, you would call it Planet X, wouldn't you, Scott? Because X denotes your knowledge on anything. Nothing.
Reason being, at 7:45 p.m. yesterday, just before we were ready to do a live stream with the physicist and Jeff P., our special guest, I decided to just take a few snapshots of the sun because it kind of looked odd. And we've been seeing a lot of odd skies, odd things with the sun, the moon, the clouds, you name it.
I'll name it. And it's not the sun, the moon, the clouds. It's Scott, Claudia and Jeff P. They're the oddest whacked out whack jobs going. There's nothing wrong with the sun, the moon, the clouds. And stop going about chemtrails. That's been debunked so often you look like a bloody spaz.
So I decided to crack off a few photographs, and I really didn't look at them till we were just beginning to start the live stream. I showed a few of these pictures yesterday during that live stream, and I've taken a lot of photographs of the sky, clouds, chemtrails, planets, you name it.
That being the case, could you explain why they always look like utter shite then?
But never have I ever seen a photograph like this come out of my camera. It was just absolutely amazing.
Okay, you're taking a piss now, because it's the same shit you always bring out. We know it, you know it.
And I'm going to share some of these photographs with you. They are definitely very odd. You know, when you're looking at the sun and the next thing you know, you're seeing these very, very odd things. It just makes you wonder.
No, the only thing it makes me wonder, Scott, is how many years can a man have a camera and still not know how the fuck to operate it properly?
Now, one of the first photographs I'm going to share with you is a photograph I took the day before. And, you know, they had just got done chemtrailing pretty heavily.
No, not chemtrailing, Scott. Those are clouds. And those nice fluffy white stripes that come out of planes are contrails. Perfectly natural. They don't harm anyone. Stop being a twat.
And you can see this light cloud cover as the chemtrails start to dissipate. And once again, during sunset, this was about 6:45 p.m. that I snapped this photograph. Where is the other third of the sun?
Okay, Scott. I do seem to recall you saying you weren't very good at maths. But even I know that is not a third of the sun missing. And that isn't even the sun. That's just the glare. And the glare can be obscured by heavy cloud. And whatever you've pissed around with filter-wise or in your Photoshop program that you keep pissing around with is merely made it look twice as bad. The third of the sun, you pillock.
And it just didn't appear in one photograph. I took several photographs, and it just seems that either that's part of the deception, the concealment with the chemtrailing. That's the effect that I got with the camera. I have no idea, but it's one of the oddest photographs that I've ever taken.
No, it's just your usual standard fare. Absolute bollocks.
Now, this is the next frame, and you could see a small lens flare down here from the camera.
Okay, Scott. Pay very careful attention. You see that thing that your arrow is pointing at? That is actually the sun. It is the reflection of the sun inside your camera. And that is the sun with the glare removed. Now, isn't that incredible? That tiny dot is producing all that glare. Is that sinking in? Probably not. You're not really capable of deep thought, are you? And I better just cover my ass here because we know how stupid you can be trying to be a smart ass. The thing your arrow is pointing at is a lens flare in your camera, and it is actually a reflection of the sun with the glare removed. So where the big ball of light in the sky actually is, that is where that dot really is. So tiny sun, lots of glare. Do you understand, thicko?
But you can see this very light cloud cover as they chemtrailed. And where's the other half of the sun?
Still not chemtrails. And it was a third of the sun a couple of minutes ago. Now it's up to half the sun. You really can't do your maths, can you? And having just demonstrated how big the sun actually is, you can see that none of the sun is missing. It's only the glare being obscured by the clouds. Still not chemtrails. Clouds. Heavy cloud at that. Not little clouds.
Now, I know it may be an effect of the camera, the lighting, and possibly this chemtrailing. Once again, the deception.
It's still not chemtrailing, Scott. And the only deception going on is by you and your friends. If they are your friends, you seem quite keen on burning them most of the time. Anyway, on with this shower of shit.
I mean, just take a look at that. I really don't have any answers for it, but there's the photograph. I wanted to share these with you to basically just show you what I'm capturing. Now, just before we went on our live stream with Jeff P. and the physicist, this is when I decided to snap a few photographs of the sun. It just looked very odd. It was glowing a very, very bright orange. For the first time in a long time, I've seen that color. So I took a few photographs, and this is what came out.
Please don't insult our intelligence by making out you just happened to be going to take some photographs and the sun just happened to be the wrong shape of mauvey pink just before a show. That's just too much of a coincidence. You're just pissing around with filters and shit again, aren't you? There's nothing wrong with the fucking sun, you moron. So stop making out there is.
I mean, last night when we were on the live stream, I referred to it as looking like a spaceship. It's just very, very odd that you would get this type of coloration. Pink, yellow, a lighter yellow around the rim of the sun, and pure white. So, I put it through a few filters, wanted to check it out, and I wanted to show all of you these photographs. Now, this was just adding some exposure, adding more light to the photograph, and even adding more exposure, you're still getting that same effect. Just very, very odd.
You really haven't got a clue what you're fucking doing, have you? Once a picture's taken, it's taken. Pissing around with the colours of pixels on that isn't going to change it into anything else. All you're supposed to do, if you're a professional photographer, is to touch up and enhance a picture. You can't turn a shower of shit into a shiny gold bar. You stupid prick.
And here's another frame, another picture, and again, you're looking at the same type of effect. Never seen anything like this before, and I've taken thousands of photographs of the sun.
Yes, you've taken thousands of pictures of the sun. Which begs the question, why the fuck aren't you doing it properly, you prick? Have you ever heard of beta solar film? It makes a hell of a lot of difference. You'd actually get pictures without lens flare if you tried. But that's not what you want, is it? Because lens flare is what you live on. You pillock.
Now, this was a few minutes later, and the sun was actually starting to set, so it was getting a little bit darker. But still, it maintained that effect. Very odd.
But it's not very odd, is it? Think about the Seshi satellites. What happens when they get overloaded? The photons overload on the columns. That's exactly what you're getting there, unless you have pissed around with it. So you've got a couple of options. Your aperture setting's crap, unless it's just a camera that hasn't got a proper aperture. In which case, it's just photon overload and the columns are bleeding over. That's why you're getting the bar across the middle. Which is why that you should know, as you've been taking thousands of photographs of the sun, you should be using a proper filter. That way you avoid problems, you spaznut.
And again, just a little bit more exposure, and there you go. It is definitely one of the oddest photographs that I've taken in a long time.
And there you go, what? Were you expecting somehow for the photons to magically unfill the buckets of the camera that the photograph's already been taken on? And it's not by far the oddest photo you've taken. You've taken some right shit. Jeez.
I'll move on to the next photograph here. These are ones from the other day. Move into the next file here. Now, I inverted this photograph just to see if I could see anything strange. And sure enough, this is what I got.
Yeah. Inversion just changes the colours without affecting hue and saturation. Big deal. And that lens flares the sun again, just for your information. Pillock.
You could see the lens flare down here. I'll zoom in for you. And that's what I came up with. That's what was in my sky at 7:45 p.m. on July 31st.
More accurately, it's what was in your camera and your adult imagination. You really want to give up the drugs, Scott. Absolute bollocks.
Now, I turned the photograph into just plain black and white. And that's what came out. I mean, in my opinion, it doesn't even look real. I've never seen the sun in this type of formation, this type of coloring that I showed you before. Just very, very odd.
Well, it's funny how the rest of the world haven't noticed, isn't it, Scott? So you're talking out your fucking ass, you dickhead.
Move to the next set of frames. Now, I was kind of curious at what I was seeing, so I put a welding lens right over the camera. And sure enough, this is what came out. Once again, it still maintained that very weird shape. And the camera was still able to pick up what it was seeing. Very, very odd.
Well, there's a couple of options here. One, your camera's fucked, and you really need to go and get it taken and get it fixed. Two, your welding lens wasn't dark enough. Three, you're a lying tosser, and that's just been tinted green in Photoshop After Effects. And I'm going for number three, you're a lying tosser.
Now this photograph here, this is what you call a solarized filter. So I decided to run the photograph through this filter just out of curiosity. And this is what I came up with.
Well, I don't know what shower shit software you're using. That's not solarization as I know it. Proper solarization, as discovered by Man Ray, is much better than that. That's just some sort of shitty, fancy special effects someone's designed and decided to call it that. Observe the pictures. This is solarization.
Very, very simple. A few clicks of the mouse, and that's what came out.
Well, let's face it. It would have to be simple for you, wouldn't it? Bloody Nora.
What this is, no idea. Kind of shaped like a lemon.
It's just a shape drawn up by an algorithm from a piece of software. It hasn't detected anything around the sun, Scott, before you start going stupid down that way. It's just whatever the piece of software picks on in that picture to draw its algorithms round.
And I've had a lot of people send me photographs, and they were labeling the photograph the lemon sun, the lemon-shaped sun. But it's a very, very odd shape and a very odd filter. But it makes you really wonder, what the hell is that?
Makes me wonder what's going through that puerile little head of yours. Are you on drugs? If not, you need to be. Or under psychiatric assessment. You're an absolute nutter.
Very strange. And this photograph here was just as the sun was getting ready to go down. So this was approximately 8 p.m. And again, I mean, you can see the sky was getting a little bit darker in the background, but this type of illumination from the sun, the magenta color all around the sun. And you know, it seems that every single day where I live, between 7 and 8:30 p.m., the skies just turn this magenta pink color. Then it gets a little darker and a little darker, but the coloration pretty much stays the same. And then you'll get these kind of golden hues to the pinkish magenta color. And then the sun goes down over the hills, and by 9 or 9:30 p.m., close to 10 p.m., the sky isn't black. It isn't dark. It's like a dark navy blue with this magenta color right above the horizon. Very strange. Never in my lifetime have I seen skies like this before. But I wanted the opportunity to share these photographs with you because I just felt that they were very, very odd. You know, and again, I've taken so many pictures of the sun over the years, and by far some of the craziest looking photographs that I've seen as of yet.
Again, we have to reiterate, if you've been taking photographs for that many years, you should know how to properly take photographs of the sun, and it involves a proper solar filter. That way, you don't get all these weird and odd shapes. You just get the sun. You don't get things that you can start describing as planets that aren't there. But that doesn't work for you, does it, Scott? Because you're a lying scumbag.
Very interesting. Almost like a postcard. But that's what I saw in my skies yesterday, July 31st, 2017, at 7:45 p.m. This is Scott from Planet X News and the Nibiru channel. Thank you for watching.
Don't thank me, Scott. That was the most tortuous 4 minutes I've had to bloody sit through and critique ever. The biggest load of bullshit I've ever had to bloody sit through. Now, let's have a look at a simple one-shot wonder. It's my first one, and it's not perfect. But it makes me wonder why your sun was so fucked up And yet, when he got around this side, all was well, and no chemtrails to be seen. Bloody weird, that. There you go, as you can see. Slightly overexposed, but it's the sun. Nothing missing, slightly overexposed still, but I'll get there. And once I'm sorted, I'm sure I'll be able to start seeing the sunspots, prominences on the limbs, but I'm damn sure I won't be seeing stellar cores or any other celestial bodies that aren't supposed to be there. So you're in deep doo-doo, Scott, and your sidekick. Bullshit will only carry so far.